8 years of being in a relationship. I pulled 400,000 yuan with my boyfriend to buy a house, and he secretly put the property title under his mother's name. After we broke up, he even forged a B ultrasound report and spread rumors that I had an abortion, relentlessly trying to ruin my reputation. Who would have thought that during a blind date, I met a hidden wealthy second-generation lawyer who instantly pampered me. He stood by me, tore apart the scumbag, and treated me like a winner in life. One night, while packing his briefcase, I accidentally dropped a property title. The name on it was clearly his mom's. What's the meaning of this? You told me that the developer delayed the property registration and made me wait. And this is what I got? The registration date was half a month ago, just around the time when I was pushing him and he was brushing me off. Lin Xing had just finished showering, water still dripping from his hair. While wiping his hair with a towel, he explained calmly, "If you count it, you didn't put a penny into buying this house. The down payment was paid by my mom, so what's wrong with putting it in her name?" My head was buzzing. What do you mean I didn't pay a penny? What about the 400,000 yuan I gave you? He lazily leaned back on the sofa as if I was the unreasonable one. That 400,000 went to the renovations, not the house. You can check the bank records yourself. The money for the renovations was taken from your account, and the money for the house was from my mom's account. I was furious. We're getting married, right? We paid the down payment together. We're paying the mortgage together. And now you're telling me this house has nothing to do with me? You know we're getting married, right? After marriage, you're not going to live in this house? My mom only has one son, and whatever she has will eventually be ours. Is it really necessary to be this clear about it? I was trembling with anger. So, I'm the one taking advantage here? Free lodging in your mom's house? If we divorce, the 400,000 my parents worked hard for, and the mortgage we've been paying together, would all go to waste? He impatiently lit a cigarette. You're overdoing it. We're not even married yet, and you're already thinking about divorce? I was too angry to breathe. I had trusted him so much. I handed him my card before we bought the house so it would be easier to make payments. But I never expected he had planned this all along. After a while, he started trying to calm me down. Don't be upset. My mom said once you have the baby, we'll transfer the house to your name as a gift. I slapped him across the face. He was stunned. His head turned to the side in shock, not expecting me to hit him. My voice trembled as tears uncontrollably fell from my eyes. Lin Qing, is the 400,000 from my family just a stepping stone for me to marry into your family? Only after I give birth will I deserve a house that I paid half the money for? His tone was cold and indifferent. So, what do you want? Return the 400,000 to me. Impossible. The renovations have already been spent. That 400,000 was most of my family's life savings. 8 years of a relationship. And you thought I'd just be tied down to you like this? Get some rest. If my parents find out that you're arguing with me over the house, they won't be happy. Cancel the wedding. The 3 words came out of my mouth as I abruptly interrupted him. He looked up at me in disbelief. What did you say? I clenched my fists, blood rushing to my head, trying to suppress my emotions. There's no need to continue this. Within 3 days, transfer the 400,000 to my account, or you'll have to explain to my lawyer. Chen Nianjin. I grabbed my handbag and rushed out, not caring about his angry shouts behind me. At first, everyone thought I was just joking. Couples have small fights. They'll make up in a few days. My future mother-in-law even personally called me. Nianjin, you're young. Don't be so strong-willed. After marriage, and when you have a baby, Lin Xing will listen to everything you say. The house will be yours soon enough. Lin Xing sent me several messages. The table's already been booked. Family and friends are watching. You don't want people to think you're being unreasonable, do you? Only my parents were resolute in standing by me. They posted on their social media. The wedding of Chen Nianjin has been cancelled. Thanks for the blessings of friends and family, and the wedding gifts will be refunded. Lin Xing's family was still immersed in the illusion that they had me trapped and tried to emotionally blackmail me. On the 3rd day, my lawyer arrived at their doorstep. I received another call from my future mother-in-law, who scolded me fiercely. Shameless. How did your parents raise such a gold digger? Without the 400,000, is your family starving? If we'd known you were so poor, Lin Xing wouldn't have bothered with you. Auntie, please speak to my lawyer. If you want to negotiate, we can. If not, we'll see each other in court. Don't pull this stunt on me. I don't understand what you're saying. That 400,000 was given voluntarily. There's no way I'm returning it. Be smart. Come back quickly, and let's get married. I hung up the phone before she could finish. Lin Xing was surely listening on the side. After being with him for 8 years, I knew he always listened to his mother. Even the temperature and clothes for the day were decided by his mom after checking the weather report a day in advance. When I first questioned it, he argued, "This shows how loving my family is. Once you marry me, you'll be happier than you've ever been at home." After talking to the lawyer, I deleted all contact with his entire family. We had been together for 8 years. But we were now tearing everything apart over this. I began to doubt myself. Had I overreacted? My best friend, seeing how depressed I was, urged me to go out and shop. I felt disoriented as I suddenly found myself single again, standing on a busy street. I hadn't been on the streets after 8 p.m. for a long time since being with Lin Ching. He used to say that good girls didn't stay out so late. My friend nudged me on the shoulder. "It's been 8 years. Haven't you seen a handsome guy? Lin Ching controls you too much. Sets curfews. Honestly, he's afraid you'll run off with someone else." I gave a wry smile and pulled her into a hot pot restaurant. But I didn't expect that breaking up with him was just the beginning of the tragedy. Not long after, all our relatives and friends found out that I had been with Lin Ching and even had an abortion for him. Lin Ching's family somehow produced a fake B ultrasound report with my name on it. The truth was, Lin Ching and I had never been intimate. Furious, I unblocked Lin Ching and called him. His tone was smug. "Finally figured it out, huh? You've delayed too long, and now the relatives are upset. Are you crazy?" My blood pressure's through the roof. Where did this B ultrasound come from? There was a pause on the other end. "What B ultrasound? Lin Ching, you forged my pregnancy. Spread rumors. Are you trying to go to jail? Fine. If you have the guts, don't delete it. I'll call the police right now." "Wait, Nianjin, what are you talking about?" I hung up the phone and gathered the evidence to head to the police station. Just as I was about to enter, Lin Ching's phone kept ringing non-stop. I stood under a large banyan tree at the entrance and answered the phone. "Nianjin, I'm sorry, it was my mom's mistake. I've criticized her. She knows she was wrong. Please don't escalate this, okay? She's in poor health. Don't bring the police to scare her." I sneered. "What were you doing when you forged the B ultrasound? Are you brave enough to do it but too cowardly to admit it?" "I'm sorry." Lin Ching began his usual sob story. "She just wanted you to be my daughter-in-law. We've known each other for 8 years. She couldn't accept us breaking up. Every time I decided to break up with him, Lin Ching would pull this trick. Either bringing his mom in or using emotional manipulation, shamelessly chasing after me, making our relationship public." I felt disgusted. My lawyer said it would take some time to get the money back, but I couldn't wait anymore. I was standing at the police station now. "Within 5 minutes, return the money to me, or I'll go in and report your mom's forged B ultrasound to the police." "Nianjin." I quickly hung up, tears streaming down my face. Lin Ching was scared. Within 3 minutes, I received a payment notification. They weren't without money, they just didn't want to give it. I had my lawyer draft a statement, demanding they publicly apologize to me on social media. After that, I completely blacklisted Lin Ching's family and left town. 2 years later, due to work relocation, I returned to my hometown. Without realizing it, I was 27, and my family began arranging blind dates. But it wasn't easy. Not long after I came back, Lin Ching started causing trouble. He must have heard something and began intentionally appearing next to my blind date spots, trying to disrupt things. After a few attempts, my mom couldn't take it anymore and arranged a blind date for me at a private restaurant. A couple of years ago, after the chaos caused by Lin Ching's family, anyone who asked around could easily find out that I had an abortion for Lin Ching back then, and my reputation was already ruined. If it weren't for trying to calm my parents down, I wouldn't have even considered finding someone locally. His name is Qin Weibo. He's a lawyer, and he's been so busy with work that he's 30 and still hasn't gotten married. I'm used to arriving early, and when I opened the door, I found someone already sitting inside. He had good features, glasses, a mature and stable look, dressed in a suit, and left a clean first impression, the kind of face most girls would like. After a brief introduction, I went straight to the point. "Mr. Qin, there's something I need to confess. I've had a previous boyfriend, and the breakup wasn't exactly pleasant." "I know." Qin Weibo nodded. "The person who introduced us already told me about your case. It was handled by a friend of mine." This surprised me. "You know everything?" "Just the general idea." Qin Weibo waited for the waiter to leave before pushing up his glasses and saying, "Miss Chen, I'm not here to date you. I'm here to marry you. After marriage, I'll put the house in your name. I'm too busy, so I'll give you my paycheck card. My reputation isn't great. Do you want to hear why?" Qin Weibo wasn't bothered. "Reputation is the least important thing to me. Character, family background, work, and abilities are all far more important than reputation. A relationship between adults isn't mostly about love, it's about compatibility. I endured the hardest times with Lin Qing after graduation. In the end, he tricked me out of 400,000 yuan, and still tried to play the emotional card and manipulate me morally. Without the emotional ties, putting everything on the table makes things a lot easier. Qin Weibo had a very good sense of boundaries. I admit, I was moved. After the blind date, Qin Weibo drove me home. I was carrying my bag and about to enter the building when someone suddenly jumped out from behind, grabbing me and dragging me to the side. He was very strong. I was wearing high heels, and the friction was low, so I kept slipping on the stone tiles. We ended up in a secluded bush area. It was Lin Qing. Who the hell are you fooling around with? He looked furious. Let go of me. We can talk. He was clearly out of control, gripping me tightly. I stared into Lin Qing's eyes, which no longer held the clarity they once had but were instead filled with rage and murkiness. Let me go, please? Just think of me as garbage. Don't dirty your hands. Slap. A loud slap echoed. I was stunned, and the heat on my cheek reminded me that Lin Qing had just slapped me. I won't let go. I've wasted 8 years of my life on you. How are you going to make up for it if I don't sleep with you? Lin Qing grabbed my chin and tried to kiss me. I felt genuinely disgusted, pushing him away with all my strength, but he responded with even more force. I was uncontrollably afraid, trying to break free from his grip when suddenly, a bright light hit me, making it hard to open my eyes. Qin Weibo stepped out of the car, his voice cold. Let her go. She's my girlfriend. What the hell are you? I dug my nails into Lin Qing's hand. He just tried to rape me. Qin Weibo's expression darkened. He unbuttoned his cuffs, then punched Lin Qing in the face. I never expected Qin Weibo to hit someone. Lin Qing was caught off guard and staggered back a few steps, letting me go. Are there cameras here? Qin Weibo asked. I shook my head. No. Qin Weibo took off his glasses and handed them to me, saying, well, then, if you kill him, no one will notice. His sleeves were rolled up to his elbows, and I saw a tattoo. Even Lin Qing was stunned. A flash of fear crossed his eyes. Who are you? What do you think? Qin Weibo slowly moved closer. Don't you know? The ones who care most about cameras are the criminals. Lin Qing turned pale, stumbling back, and ran into the bushes, escaping through the back door. Before leaving, he didn't forget to threaten me, saying he wouldn't let this go. The terrifying experience felt like a dream. I was sweating cold, and a chill ran through me. Qin Weibo came back and looked me over carefully. Good thing I didn't leave. Is he your ex? I nodded, my gaze falling on Qin Weibo's forearm. I forced a smile. If you didn't know better, you'd think you're on both sides of the law. He took my glasses from me and put them back on. Besides criminals, lawyers care about cameras too. I chuckled, but when I smiled, my mouth stung, reminding me that Lin Qing had cut my lip. Qin Weibo glanced at me. Let's go. I'll take you upstairs and you should clean up that wound. Okay. It's been 2 days since my blind date with Qin Weibo. We just added each other on WeChat and hadn't spoken yet. Most likely, Lin Qing messed things up. Afterward, I ordered a few cameras to install outside my apartment and went to the property management the next day to report the blind spots in the greenery area. The property was very responsive and agreed to install cameras. However, they needed a few days to buy the equipment and advised me to have family members pick me up in the meantime. I didn't feel too disappointed, continuing to work as usual, and asked my boss for a transfer to another province. My boss stirred his tea and said, Xiao Chen, you just came back from out of town. You should focus on your work and get some results. Don't always think about running away, okay? That was probably the worst day of my mood. I hardly ate lunch and declined an office dinner invitation. As I walked out of the office building, Qin Weibo's call came in. Miss Chen, would you like to have dinner? The night wind blew, and the neon lights on the street flickered as the sounds of the city grew louder. It felt like I suddenly broke through a barrier and was drawn into the hustle and bustle. I didn't expect to be waiting for his call, but when I heard it, I suddenly realized someone actually wanted to be close to me. Sure, what do you want to eat? I'll treat you. I tucked my hair behind my ear and smiled, feeling the wind. Hot pot, I think. Lively, relaxing. I hesitated for a moment and then pulled out some powder from my bag, dabbing it onto my face. I heard Qin Weibo's voice on the phone. I'm across from your office. Is that you? I looked up, awkwardly holding my powder puff and saw his familiar license plate. Fancy that. Qin Weibo smiled and hung up the phone. I pretended to be casual, crossing the street and sitting in the passenger seat. Qin Weibo's first words were, The firm's been too busy lately, and I didn't get the chance to reach out. I went home and checked my assets. Everything's here. I thought it was just a regular date, but it turned out Chin Weibo was here for business. What's going on? I asked, puzzled. His concern seemed sincere, but I shrugged it off. You lawyers don't even stop working during dinner? Chin Weibo realized his mistake, apologizing. Sorry, it's just a professional habit. By the way, have you thought about a prenup? No need. I have no debts, he answered quickly, starting the car and driving into the busy traffic. The window was halfway down, and Cantonese music played softly in the background. I gazed out the window, suddenly feeling like life could be this simple. Chin Weibo was busy, and my work allowed me to manage my personal life. We complemented each other, and that was enough. I have no objections to marriage, and I like kids, I said. Skipping dating and jumping straight to marriage felt pretty weird. Without extreme love, there are no fights or love-hate struggles. Marriage is just a bond that ties us together, and we work toward a shared future. Chin Weibo smiled. I have a month free. We quickly had a flash wedding. When my best friend got our invitation, her jaw almost dropped. Before marrying Lin Qing, our families couldn't even agree on some details and would argue about it all the time, sometimes even making my mom so upset she wouldn't want to eat. But this didn't happen at all when Chin Weibo and I were preparing for our wedding. His parents were very respectful when they met me, and the wedding gift was generous. The dowry was set according to the highest standards in our town. Since it was so hot at the end of August, the wedding was postponed to September. Chin Weibo and I went to get our marriage certificate first. My luggage was minimal, and I packed quickly, moving into Chin Weibo's place. It was in the city center, convenient for his work, and I just had to take a few subway stops. On our wedding night, Chin Weibo sat on the couch and pulled out 2 property deeds. I was stunned, thinking, are we already separating after marriage? Are you into someone else? Or into men? Chin Weibo was silent for a long time before finally speaking. One apartment is closer to your office, but it's smaller. The other one is a villa outside the 5th ring. You can have your parents move in. My head started pounding. You don't have any unusual habits, do you? Chin Weibo was confused. Why does it matter? You can choose anyone, right? No need to do charity. Chin Weibo didn't answer, but pushed the property deed to me, saying, I don't have time to manage assets, so I'll be relying on you for that. Since I could choose anyone, why not him? He seemed a bit confused, but his logic wasn't bad. By the time I realized it, Chin Weibo had already gone into the bedroom, and I heard him showering. Then it hit me. Tonight was our wedding night. What about our married life? There were 2 bathrooms in the apartment, so I quickly showered, wrapped myself up tightly, and sat on the couch, pretending to be calm while watching TV and drinking water. Chin Weibo came out wearing a bathrobe, and the scent of mint filled the air. I had never lived with a man before. He sat next to me, and as we drank water, our arms brushed against each other. Even though there was some space between us, I could feel the heat. It was the only time in our time together that I felt awkward. I stayed calm, waiting for him to go to bed. At 11:30 p.m., Chin Weibo suddenly spoke. Aren't you sleepy? A bit. I held my breath, looking at him secretly, and found that he was also looking at me. His gaze wasn't exactly clear, but between adults, one look says it all. I forced myself to look him in the eye. Where do I sleep? The master bedroom. Chin Weibo seemed surprised by my response, but after turning off the TV, he stood up and waited for me. You go first. I'll turn off the lights. Okay. There probably isn't a more awkward couple than Chin Weibo and me. I walked into the bedroom, didn't turn on the lights, and crawled under the covers, waiting for Chin Weibo to come in. When the living room light went off, the world fell into silent darkness. Chin Weibo's footsteps got closer, and I heard him take off his bathrobe. I suddenly got nervous. If Chin Weibo, I realized I didn't have a reason to refuse. The bed dipped slightly as he lay down, and even with some distance between us, I could feel his warmth. Suddenly, his hand was on my shoulder. His rough fingers brushed across my skin and landed on the blanket. I tensed up, unsure whether I should grab his hand. I did it instinctively. I placed my hand on his, not knowing what to do. Chin Weibo laughed softly, pulling the blanket tighter, and turned on the air conditioning. Don't catch a cold. Then he gently placed my hand back under the covers. My face was burning, and I felt embarrassed. Flash marriages have this disadvantage. Both of us were still at the respectful distance, unable to move closer. Chin Weibo was careful, pulling the blanket over me before settling down. After a while, I could hear his steady breathing. He had fallen asleep. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I couldn't tell if I was relieved or disappointed. My husband was lying next to me. He was asleep on our wedding night, which felt unusual. The invisible pressure suddenly lifted, and I sighed in relief. My mind slowly becoming foggy. The alarm went off promptly the next morning. My mind was in a haze, and when I moved my arms and legs, I realized I was like a koala, tangled up in Shin Weibo's arms. He must have been woken up by my phone's alarm too. When he opened his eyes and saw me right in front of him, a trace of surprise crossed his face. Then I felt something wasn't right. My face turned red, and I hurriedly untangled myself. Good morning. Morning. Shin Weibo, however, was quite calm. He rubbed his face, got up, and the blanket slid off, revealing his upper body. He wasn't wearing any clothes. No wonder it felt so good earlier.
I turned off my phone and hurriedly rushed out of the bedroom to the guest bathroom. Even after I finished getting ready, the warmth on my face hadn't faded. When I turned around, Shin Weibo was in a suit, adjusting his tie. He walked out of the bedroom and said, "There's a breakfast shop downstairs. I'll take you to work after we eat." "Oh, thanks." Shin Weibo paused as he was changing his shoes and glanced back at me. "No need to be polite with me." I nodded, and then he added, "After all, we shared a bed." Luckily, I hadn't had any water, or I would have choked right then. Who can tell me, can someone change after just one night of sleep? How did he learn to joke? At least Shin Weibo's words helped break the awkward tension of the morning. I sat at the breakfast shop downstairs, feeling much better, and started talking more. "I'll go to the supermarket after work today, and I'll make breakfast from now on. Do you have time?" Shin Weibo ordered me a bowl of tofu pudding and placed it in front of me. "I have time." I smiled and took the spoon. "As long as you take me to work, I'll have time." Shin Weibo smiled. "Sure." In the office elevator, I ran into a couple of colleagues. They greeted me. "Xiao Chen, you look great today. Something good happened?" I lifted my hand to show my wedding ring. "Got married." Everyone congratulated me, and we gossiped all the way from the elevator to the office. They even wanted to see Shin Weibo's photos, not just his adult photos, but his childhood ones too. Sister Song, who was nearby, said earnestly, "You have to show us childhood photos. Then we'll know what your kids will look like." Reluctantly, I had to text Shin Weibo, "I want to see your childhood photos," and added a smiling cat sticker. Anyway, Shin Weibo doesn't check WeChat, so I'll just explain later when he gets home. A few minutes later, Shin Weibo sent a photo. It was a class photo from the 7th grade at XX City Experimental Middle School. No childhood photos, but he did send one from middle school. That was awkward. Wasn't he not checking his phone? I quickly replied, "Okay." At the same time, I opened the photo. He looked a little different in middle school compared to now. I could vaguely make out Shin Weibo's face, but I wasn't completely sure. My colleagues looked at the photo and all complimented him on how handsome he was. Just as I was about to put my phone away, my eyes froze on a corner of the photo. If I wasn't mistaken, the person standing next to Shin Weibo was Lin Cheng. Lin Cheng had his hand on Shin Weibo's shoulder, clearly very close. Were they middle school classmates? A strong sense of unease flooded my heart. Shin Weibo insisted on marrying me. Could it be that he was trying to get back at Lin Cheng? I worried about this all day. That evening, Shin Weibo's car arrived right on time, parked downstairs at the office. I felt conflicted, and even getting into the car took longer than usual. Did something happen at work? Shin Weibo, keenly sensing my mood, asked. I shook my head and hesitated for a moment before pulling out the photo on my phone. "Is this you?" "Good eye." I then moved the photo to Lin Cheng. "Is he your friend?" He was busy buckling his seatbelt and casually glanced at the photo. "Should be. I don't remember his name. Haven't been in touch for a long time." So they did have some history. His tone seemed casual, but I couldn't shake the feeling it was a bit forced. I didn't bring up the matter again during the drive. Instead, we chatted aimlessly. When we were almost home, Shin Weibo received a phone call. He was driving, so he asked me to put it on speaker. "Class monitor? Next week, we're having a class reunion. Are you coming?" He looked at me and raised an eyebrow. "Middle school classmates?" "Yes." I opened my mouth but couldn't speak, just silently said, "I want to go." If Lin Cheng and Shin Weibo really knew each other, there must be some clue that would slip out. Shin Weibo understood what I meant and asked, "Can I bring a +1? Are you married now, class monitor?" "Yes, of course you can." He hung up and turned to me. "You seem pretty interested in my middle school days today." I forced a smile. looking at myself in the mirror. You were pretty handsome when you were younger. Really? Chin Weibo replied nonchalantly, maneuvering the car through traffic. The class reunion was set at a 24-hour place on the outskirts of the 3rd Ring Road. The area was vast and empty, with a peaceful ambience. At 5 p.m., the private room was already full. Chin Weibo had come straight from work after finishing his tasks. He had his briefcase in his left hand and was holding my hand with his right. As we walked into the room, everyone's eyes were immediately on us. I had been so nervous, but when I entered the room, I quickly scanned the people there. No Lin Chang. The anxiety didn't go away. I sat down, trying to listen to Chin Weibo chat with everyone around him. I nervously bit my lip. As we turned a corner, I suddenly saw Lin Chang at another table. The moment he turned around, his smile froze. His gaze dropped to my hand with the wedding ring. In that instant, I tightened my grip on Chin Weibo's hand. He gently patted my hand and introduced me to everyone. This is my wife, Chen Nianjin. Amid the warm greetings and blessings, Lin Chang's expression changed. He suddenly stood up, walked toward me, and said, "Bro, you look so familiar. Are you?" The room went quiet, and my heart raced. I kept my eyes fixed on Lin Chang and Chin Weibo's reactions. Chin Weibo paused, looked at me, and for a split second, we made eye contact. I nervously spoke, "So, you two are classmates." He didn't flinch, turned to Lin Chang and said, "So it was you that night." "Sorry, it was too dark. I didn't recognize you." I suddenly felt relieved. Chin Weibo had only been in the same class with Lin Ching in middle school. Good thing he wasn't marrying me to get back at Lin Ching. The man who had greeted us earlier looked surprised. "Wait, you two have met before?" Chin Weibo didn't respond, adjusted his glasses, and extended his hand. "Hello, I'm the class monitor. This is my wife, Chen Nianjin. We heard you got married. Ha ha ha. Why are you introducing us twice?" Chin Weibo ignored the teasing and waited for Lin Ching to shake his hand. Their eyes met, sparking a little tension. After a brief silence, Lin Ching raised his hand, shaking Chin Weibo's palm with a white-knuckled grip. "Hello, class monitor." A middle school reunion is usually not about catching up. It's more about connecting with people who live nearby for networking purposes. Even if you don't remember their name, it doesn't affect the warmth of the gathering. As a lawyer, Chin Weibo was obviously the center of attention. When it was time to toast, he always included me. Chin Weibo gently pushed my wine glass away, smiling. "Sorry, my wife is driving tonight, so she can't drink." I couldn't help but feel like his actions were a little too affectionate. Under the table, he held my hand, fed me food, shielded me from alcohol, even whispered in my ear, "Have you eaten enough? Don't eat too much cold food. Don't touch it. I'll peel the shrimp for you." Lin Cheng, sitting across from us, looked increasingly upset. "Class monitor, just got married?" "Yep, quick marriage. Ha, still getting to know each other." Young couples are always like this. Wait till they spend more time together. See what they turn into. "Hey, Lin Cheng, are you jealous?" I glanced at the younger man. "Look at you. Aren't you getting old? Still no girlfriend?" A small woman next to him teased. Lin Cheng glared at me and hissed, "My girlfriend? She ran off with someone else." The whole room suddenly went silent. Chin Weibo froze for a moment, then calmly continued peeling shrimp for me. I regretted dragging Chin Weibo to this reunion, just to be subjected to Lin Cheng's sarcastic remarks. It felt like it was all my fault.
I leaned into Chin Weibo's ear and whispered, "I want to go home." Chin Weibo nodded slightly, wiped his hands with a hot towel, and stood up. "I have urgent business. Let's leave." Lin Ching tried to stand up, but someone pulled him back to drink more. On the way home, Chin Weibo didn't say anything. The atmosphere in the car was awkward. I couldn't figure out how to explain things, so I focused on driving. When we got home, Chin Weibo dropped me off and went straight to the bathroom. I tidied myself up in the guest bathroom, crawled into bed, and sighed. I thought marriage would be peaceful, but in just a few days, we were already in conflict. I know how to calm people down, but we hadn't reached that level of closeness yet. Isn't it awkward? The bathroom door opened, and the familiar scent of mint filled the air. I closed my eyes, hearing him walk toward the bed, then sit down. He didn't move for a long time. I peeked through a slit in my eyes and found Chin Weibo quietly looking at me. Caught. I awkwardly cleared my throat. "Still not asleep?" He spoke flatly, then pulled back the blanket and slid in beside me. We stayed on opposite sides of the bed, never crossing the line. I felt a little uneasy, so I took his hand and whispered, "Sorry." He stayed silent, as if he had fallen asleep. I didn't care if he liked what I said or not. I didn't know you were classmates with him. I was so afraid you and he were plotting against me, because after our wedding, it didn't feel like we were normal couple. Chin Weibo suddenly turned, his forearm resting on my pillow. The minty scent grew stronger. Our bodies close. I almost touched his chin and throat. "Why didn't you say anything?" Chin Weibo asked. The warmth spread from my ear down my spine, making my body feel hot. He wasn't wearing a bathrobe, and I was pressed against him. "Say what?" My voice was quiet, almost a hum. "Be more proactive." Chin Weibo's hand rested on my waist. "You're my wife. I don't mind fulfilling my duties as a husband. Just tell me what you want." It was clear he was waiting for me to make the first move. At first, my reaction made him think I was afraid of him. I turned away, not daring to look at him, muttering, "Then just fulfill them." Before I could finish, Chin Weibo kissed me. The moonlight streamed into the bedroom, reflecting off his wet hair. The light shimmered, wrapping itself into the deep night. Invisible boundaries vanished. The crumpled bed sheets erased all distance. "Tonight, you saw your ex, and I'm not happy." Chin Weibo's eyes narrowed, his pressure mounting as he negotiated. "Sorry, apologies didn't work." Chin Weibo locked my hands, using his body heat to calm me. "I'm asking for compensation. It turns out, you should never underestimate a man's jealousy. Are you sure you can stay up all night at 30? Chin Weibo laughed. "Wife, look at me. Can I? Really?" He's so competitive. When challenged, he goes all out to prove himself. The next day, I called in sick. "Got a cold?" My throat's all hoarse. My boss was concerned. I glared at Chin Weibo, who was tying his tie. My face was burning. "Yes, I won't be coming in today. Take care of yourself." After hanging up, Chin Weibo smirked at me. "Guess you don't practice lying." After that night, everything was back to normal. I shot him a look, went back to bed. "Go ahead. I'm going back to sleep." "Oh, what do you want for lunch? Aren't you not coming back?" "Newlyweds. I can't just leave you alone at home." Chin Weibo got dressed and came to the bed, leaning over, trapping me in a small space. "I'm not busy today. I can come back. I want water-fried buns." "Okay." Life after marriage doesn't seem that bad. I could have slept till noon, but then I got a call from my mom. "Nianjin, does Lin Xing not know you're married?" "Why?" "He brought a gift to see me and your dad." I woke up in a panic, rushed to get dressed. "Mom, don't argue with him. I'll come home right now." Knowing I was married, he still went to see my parents. Has he lost his mind? What does Lin Xing want? I floored the gas pedal and rushed home. When I got there, Lin Xing was sitting in the living room. I slammed the door open, knocking over a family photo, and glass shattered everywhere. I didn't even change my shoes. I grabbed Lin Xing's hand and pulled him out. "Nianjin, I couldn't find you, so I had to come see your parents." In the hallway, I turned and pushed him against the wall. "What do you want?" Lin Xing looked at me, his face conflicted. After a long pause, he tried to take my hand. "Sorry, I know I was wrong. Don't be mad, okay?" "Lin Xing, do you think this is a lover's quarrel? I'm married now. We're over." "You only married Chin Weibo because he has money, right? We had 8 years together." I laughed. 2 years apart. "And you still don't understand why I left you." "He never respected me. When we were together, I couldn't go shopping at night, couldn't go on trips with my friends. When he wanted me, I had to be there. I had to always show face in front of his friends. Even when we went out to eat, I always paid. His money was saved for the wedding and the dowry. Too many details, too small to talk about. But if I don't, they disgust me." I yanked my hand away from Lin Qing's grip. "You can go now. I've installed security cameras nearby. If you come again, I'll call the cops." Lin Qing stared at me, his lips twitching. He suddenly yelled, loud enough for the whole hallway to hear. "You gold-digging woman. You dumped your boyfriend for money. You have no shame." Crash. I heard the door upstairs open. I didn't want to make a scene and embarrass my parents, so I pushed him out of the hallway and lowered my voice. "Yes, I don't like you because you're poor. I married someone rich. So what? You've already cursed at me. I accept it. Can you leave now?" Lin Xing suddenly grabbed my collar and shouted behind him. "Did you hear that? She married you for the money. She's no good. You should divorce her now." I realized Qin Wei Bai had arrived. Not only was he ruining my reputation, but he was also trying to destroy my marriage. The anger I'd been holding back couldn't be suppressed any longer. I raised my hand and slapped him hard. It was strong enough that Lin Xing was stunned and directly slammed into the wall behind him. I thought about it and then took out my phone. I pulled up that fake B ultrasound from back then. "If you keep making a scene, I'll post this online. I know you're not afraid of detention, so tell your mom to wait for calls from enthusiastic netizens. Lin Qing's face showed uncertainty. Suit yourself. If you make a scene, everyone will know you've slept with me. As long as Qin Wei Bai agrees, do whatever you want. He then provocatively looked behind me. I gritted my teeth and tried to ignore Qin Wei Bai. Now that it had escalated this far, he must have seen through me. A woman who can't let go of her ex and throws tantrums like a shrew. What a joke. If Nianjin agrees, I have no objections. I froze, and suddenly a warm hand rested on my waist, pulling me close. At the same time, Qin Wei Bai appeared beside me. In that instant, all my grievances had an outlet, and tears flowed uncontrollably. I tilted my head, staring at his profile. Qin Wei Bai had a faint smell of smoke, his hands in his pockets, and his tie loose. Do you have something to say? Or are you still thinking about that slap I gave you last time? Do you need me to slap you again so you feel better? He occasionally exuded a bit of a bad boy vibe. He was gentlemanly at times, but also quite the rogue when needed. His brain is full of legal knowledge. But will he break the law? Thinking this, I straightened my back and lifted my chin. My husband will strike you, aiming for non-lethal spots. You can't win a lawsuit against him. Be careful when you're out on the streets. Next time I see you, I'll hit you again. Qin Wei Bai seemed to be playing along. He slowly rolled up his shirt sleeves. He worked out, so his muscles were clearly defined. Lin Qing was scared.
He muttered some meaningless words and quickly disappeared around the corner. What are you doing here? He glanced at me sideways. My parents are worried you might cause trouble, so they called me. Are you busy? His clothes were wrinkled, his tie crooked, and he still smelled of smoke. Clearly, he had rushed here straight from the office. He didn't respond to my question. He used his position to push me against the wall. You were so confident earlier, huh? You wanted me to break the law. Qin Weibai's deep eyes reflected my face, his expression a mix of mockery. I didn't dare. I forced a smile, crawling slowly from under his arm, my heart racing. Suddenly, I felt a tight grip on my neck. Before I could speak, Qin Weibai yanked me back and kissed me. Don't shout, once we're done, I'll take you upstairs. When kissing, I realized Qin Weibai wasn't indifferent. He hated me talking to Lin Chang, so his movements were strong, possessive, almost ruthless. When he calmed down, I had a swollen lower lip and a red face as he pulled me back home. This was Qin Weibai's first time visiting my house after our marriage. My parents were very warm, carefully avoiding any mention of Lin Qing, to prevent it from affecting our marriage. But Qin Weibai suggested first. The villa outside the third ring road is still empty. You two could move there if you want. My parents shook their heads in refusal. I had secretly mentioned this to my mom before. She said, we want someone who treats you well, not to take advantage of your husband's wealth. We don't want to make you feel inferior either. Next time, just reject it on our behalf. The 400,000 for the wedding was transferred to my account. Qin Weibai didn't take it, so I still hadn't agreed to transfer the house ownership. After leaving my parents' house, Qin Weibai suddenly stopped me. He looked at me seriously for a long time. Nianjin, you don't need to be so distant with me. Maybe it's because of my past with Lin Chang, but I left some emotional scars. Lin Chang was like a leech. For 8 years, he lived off my savings, slowly draining all my affection. I hated Lin Chang, so I feared becoming like him. Every little thing Qin Weibai gives me, I weigh whether I deserve it. 8 years of love can be consumed, let alone we've known each other for less than a year. I pretended to be calm and said, no, my parents wouldn't like living in a villa. I'm not keeping my distance from you. That's good. Qin Weibai nodded, seemingly accepting my explanation. I watched Qin Weibai's back as he walked away. If one day, Qin Weibai tells me he wants a divorce, after 2 failed relationships, I would be completely crushed. I carefully maintained my marriage with Qin Weibai. As long as I get what I deserve, I wouldn't be greedy for more. I just want to prove I didn't make a mistake. Since that day, Lin Qing completely disappeared. Both families started pressuring me to have a child. I asked Qin Weibai for his opinion, and he said, do it however you want. So, I started preparing to get pregnant. When work wasn't busy, I picked him up from work every day. I overheard his colleagues at the law firm calling Qin Weibai a wife's treasure. He smiled but didn't deny it. However, one evening, I ran into Lin Qing's mom outside Qin Weibai's office. At first, I didn't recognize her. She snorted and bumped into me, almost making me fall into the flower bed. Afraid of causing trouble for Qin Weibai, I pretended not to notice and lowered my head to clean the dried grass on my skirt. But she wasn't letting up. I heard you're trying to get someone to cyberbully me. Why is Lin Qing telling his mom everything? Before I could speak, she punched me in the shoulder. You're something else. I told Lin Cheng not to be with you from the start. Look what I told you. I steadied myself, trying to ignore her, but she grabbed my arm with a triumphant expression. I heard your husband works here. I'll ask him how he has the nerve to go after a married woman. At that moment, I saw Qin Weibai's colleagues coming out of the office. I yanked my arm away. Auntie, I don't have anything to do with your son anymore. Let go of me. She saw I was scared and got more arrogant. She grabbed my neck and shouted, "Come on, everyone, look, adulterers. Lying in relationships. Heartless." Lin Cheng's mom wouldn't listen to reason. Earlier, when she visited Lin Cheng at school, she told me to take care of him. He doesn't like fruits, keep an eye on him. If his health declines, your life will be tough too. So reasoning with her was useless. She knew how to cause a scene. Hey, sister-in-law, old Qin still needs to wait a bit. Qin Weibai's colleague walked over, excited. Seeing the situation, he stopped talking. How embarrassing. Especially when Lin Cheng's mom grabbed his colleague and started accusing me of cheating. I was furious. I suddenly wrenched her hand off. Enough. I don't know if I was too strong or if she lost her balance, but the old lady tumbled backward, her body straightening out. I heard her shout ow. She grabbed the colleague's pants leg. I'm hurt. I'm suing. I'll hire you as my lawyer. Sis, this scene drew quite an audience. I was too angry to recover for a long time. A few minutes later, I was sitting in Qin Weibai's office with my head down. How did things end up like this? I didn't push her hard, she just fell. Whether she did it intentionally or not, pushing someone is still a fact. Qin Weibai's colleague immediately sent her to the hospital. It wasn't long before the door was pushed open from the outside. Qin Weibai walked in and placed a cup of warm water in front of me. Don't worry, Ren's waiting at the hospital for the results. If it's a scam, we'll sue. I'm sorry, I felt guilty again for causing him trouble. Qin Weibai's job kept him busy, and sometimes he didn't come home. He was in the peak of his career, needed to entertain people, and dealt frequently with the smoke-filled nightlife. So, I picked him up every day to prevent him from driving when tired. I never thought I'd cause trouble. Qin Weibai ruffled my hair. Well, what should we do? You pay up then. How much do you need? By the rules, Xiao Zhang. How much do I get paid for a case? Xiao Zhang poked his head out. They're still charging the family? Sis, aren't you going to punish him tonight? Qin Weibai laughed too. Our angel is beautiful and kind, no punishment. It turned out they were messing with me. A warm feeling surged inside me. I pouted and hugged Qin Weibai proactively. How come you're so good to me? Because I'm a good person. Qin Weibai patted my back. Actually, my parents have been watching you for a while. You say your reputation is bad, but only Lin Cheng's relatives think that. Most of the neighbors say your family has a good reputation, good family values. You've raised a daughter who's sensible and reasonable. This is called, the fragrance of wine doesn't fear the deep alley. In the dating market, no one can get close to you. You're exaggerating. He praised me until I felt embarrassed. Qin Weibai pointed at the flower tea I had made. Otherwise, what's this? He glanced at Xiao Zhang outside the window, and openly whispered to me, have you ever seen a wife personally picking up her husband from work? Has anyone ever made tea for their man? I was worried about your throat. So, at our office, you're the best to me. Qin Weibai pulled me up, looking like he wouldn't accept any objections. In the evening, with traffic on the busy street, he held my hand as we walked out of the law firm. I followed behind Qin Weibai. A streak of sunset fell just on his right hand. His palm pressed against my wrist. He's so good to me, so good that I felt guilty. Suddenly, I became a bit greedy. I walked a few steps faster, and wrapped both my arms around his arm, pressing into his chest. Qin Weibai looked down at me, a smile in his eyes. I couldn't help but smile too. In that moment, I suddenly thought, maybe we could really grow old together. That night, Lin Cheng's mother's report came out. It was nothing serious.
Qin Weibai planned to sue her, but I stopped him. Lin Cheng's family is the type who argues for everything. I didn't want this to take up Qin Weibai's time. The best way to deal with troublemakers is to ignore them. Qin Weibai was so angry. He left a tooth mark on my face and warned, next time, I won't let it slide. Okay. Just after I promised him this, Lin Cheng's mom made this public online. When my friend sent me the link, I was sitting on Qin Weibai's lap. I didn't have time to hide my phone, so he snatched it from me. Qin Weibai stared at the screen, his face cold. Chen Nianjin, she's spreading rumors. You should remember what you promised me, right? If there's another time, I'll handle it myself. In the video, Lin Cheng and his mom were both being interviewed. Lin Cheng said, I've been with her for 8 years, and the breakup might not have been pleasant. My mom is a kind person. If she meets someone on the street who wants to chat, she doesn't know any better. She's strong, but probably doesn't have bad intentions. Please don't attack her online. His mom was lying in bed, facing away from the camera. They blurred her face. Our family is poor, and we've dragged our son down. She's still single. She's been with his daughter for 8 years, and he's sentimental, doesn't want to find anyone else. The comments below were all the same, criticizing me for being materialistic. Is that the way to treat an elderly person? Why take your anger out on the elderly? Elderly people can fall and die. Isn't that like killing them on purpose? Support the police report. I heard her husband is a lawyer, but he can't even win a lawsuit. After a few days, my phone started receiving messages and calls non-stop. My contact info was exposed. Lin Xing made the first move, pushing me into the spotlight. At that time, I was just about to pick up Qin Wei Bai from work. As he walked out, I suddenly saw someone with a bucket walking towards him. I froze, ran toward him, and stood in front of him, spreading my arms. I blocked him completely with my back. I closed my eyes, my body stiff with tension. Are you crazy? I heard the man's voice behind me. Water splashed from the bucket onto my skirt. He cursed a few times and walked away. Qin Wei Bai looked confused. What's wrong? I was drenched in cold sweat, my voice barely coming out. I thought he was going to throw acid at you. In that moment, I was ready to feel my back burn. Qin Wei Bai froze. His face darkened. What did you say? I was scared too. It was just a reflex. I didn't think it through. He picked me up and pulled me into the car. Next time, stay out of the way. Understand? Next time I act like this, you. Qin Wei Bai was angry, grabbing his phone. No, next time. I'll take care of Lin Qing's issue right now. I grabbed his wrist, hurrying to speak. This time, I want to handle it myself. Chen Nianjin. Qin Wei Bai was clearly furious. Why can't you trust me? It's not that I don't trust you. I'm cleaning up the mess I made. I seriously promised Qin Wei Bai. This will be the last time. Before, I was too worried about Lin Qing harming my family. But bad people won't let you go just because you back down. Lin Qing's exposure at work, my contact info being found quickly, wouldn't have happened without his push. It was my attitude of wanting to keep the peace that made them think I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. This time is different. Qin Wei Bai's career was exposed. Lin Qing threatened my family. I won't let him get away with it. If we're going to make a scene, let's make it big. Qin Wei Bai didn't quite buy my words. He rubbed his face in frustration. All right, but you can't go negotiate with Lin Qing alone. You need to be safe. I understand. That night, I contacted the reporters and some bloggers. The meeting was set at a nearby cafe. I spent the night printing documents. While doing that, Qin Wei Bai stayed by my side. Seeing old chat records between Lin Qing and me, he couldn't hold back a few times and cursed out loud. The next day, they arrived before I did. Walking into the cafe, 3 of them looked up at me, a man and 2 women, with cameras and recording equipment on the table. I grabbed the file folder tightly, took a deep breath, and walked over. Hello, I'm Chen Nianjin, Lin Qing's ex-girlfriend. They looked at me coldly, even with some disdain. I ignored their reactions, ordered an Americano, and sat down across from them. Miss Chen, can we start? They asked. They'd already reached a consensus, ready to watch me try to explain. I smiled slightly. Yes. I gave them a recording and an ultrasound form. In the recording, Lin Qing was begging me not to expose the fake ultrasound his mom made. This was 2 years ago. When we broke up, his mom forged an ultrasound to ruin my reputation. I never had a real relationship with Lin Qing, but she spread rumors that I miscarried his child. The girl across from me showed doubt. How do you prove this man is Lin Qing? I opened my phone, showing our chat history. It had just been synced from my old phone last night. The WeChat was the same one Lin Qing is using now. It recorded the whole process of our breakup, including how his family tried to extort me for 400,000, threatened me into marrying him, and screenshots of his mom insulting me for being materialistic. After we broke up, to avoid the local gossip, I went to another province to work for 2 years. When I came back, I met my now husband through arranged marriage, so there was no cheating or being materialistic. Lin Qing, after learning I was getting married, tried to rape me in the bushes outside my apartment. Then his family installed cameras around my house. You can check the footage. He came around and even harassed my parents. The 3 of them were increasingly shocked. Eventually, they all showed disgust. Why didn't you call the police? He didn't cause any physical harm, so he wouldn't stay in jail long. And my family and friends still have to live here, so I didn't dare. I swallowed the bitterness in my coffee. This time, I was just picking up my husband from work, and accidentally bumped into her, and she started insulting me. I also brought a video. They spent an hour clearing up the details, one by one. Their faces turned red with anger. Miss Chen, what do you want us to do? I downed an entire glass of iced coffee, feeling much better. I spilled everything. I'm not afraid, and neither is my husband. They slandered me. I'm just clarifying things, right? Right. At the end of the conversation, if I didn't have family, Lin Qing's family would have been sued from the start, but since I have attachments, I can't do whatever I want. Now, I have to hit back the way they care about most. The next day, my screenshots spread across the internet, with the video as evidence. The story took a turn. Of course, some people still insulted me, but most people had clear eyes. Many who had criticized me before began to apologize. The story spread to WeChat moments. In the end, even Lin Qing's mutual friends knew. They came to comfort me. Turns out he's such a scumbag. I even agreed to help him find a partner. I quickly told them to block him. Now their reputation is ruined. The whole neighborhood knows and is talking about it. They won't be able to show their face anymore. A blogger asked if I wanted to expose their address and contact details. I refused. The online attitude doesn't hurt as much as the judgment from relatives and neighbors. That's enough. When Qin Weibai got off work, I jumped into his arms, smiling, and told him about the outcome of everything. Oh, Qin Weibai held me with one arm, bending down to change his shoes. How about we celebrate? How do we celebrate? I'll buy you a car tomorrow. I dropped my jaw. Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? We just got married. Where's the money for a car? Qin Weibai looked up at me, signaling for me to untie his tie. His parents want to buy a Porsche. You can pick the color. Wait. I got off Qin Weibai's lap, pushed him with a serious face. You didn't break the law, did you? Where's the money coming from? Qin Weibai laughed. So in your eyes, I'm a criminal? When we got married, the matchmaker said his family was well off. I didn't think too much about it. I made sure he didn't have any debt, but who knew? He might be really rich. Qin Weibai laughed at my suspicious face. Don't worry, your parents-in-law are rich. I'm a rich second generation. He'd mentioned it a few times before, but I didn't believe it. Really? Yes, really. Qin Weibai nodded. I was shocked to be married to a rich second generation. When a strange number suddenly called, Qin Weibai answered it for me. Through the receiver, I heard Lin Qing's voice. He was furious, saying he'd sue me. Qin Weibai sneered. I happen to be good at lawsuits. Mr. Lin, do you need help? In his field, Lin Qing was no match for Qin Weibai. A few words later, he was defeated. Qin Weibai hung up and carried me into the bedroom. Wife, what's it like living on someone else's money for 8 years? How would I know? He spoke with a sarcastic tone. Oh, then let me try it. After saying that, he nipped at my ear. The warmth spread through my ear canal. I laughed and tried to dodge, but he grabbed me. Have we kissed yet? Have we hugged? How did we kiss? Like this? Or like this? Qin Weibai took advantage of the moment, and bullied me without restraint. I felt soft. In the end, I couldn't even laugh. Only short moans came from my mouth. We didn't. Qin Weibai seemed to get more excited. Shush. I just cursed out Lin Qing for you. Is there a reward? I blushed instantly, the heat creeping up my body. How do you keep finding ways to bully me? I can't be indifferent. Jealous? If I don't bully you, who should I bully? The click of the metal buckle echoed. Qin Weibai's movements were smooth. Sweetheart, let's go to the bathroom. 2 months after that night, I found out I was pregnant. At that time, I was sitting in Qin Weibai's office. It was time to get off work. Xiaozhang and many colleagues were there. Someone mentioned it, and there was a huge surprise. In the 2 years I was away from the city, Lin Qing had been dating other girls. The first one was half a month after we broke up. The girl was a neighbor of a colleague. She was scammed by Lin Qing for 2,000 yuan, and then blocked. Last winter, Lin Qing was dating 2 girls at the same time, and those 2 girls found out about each other under my social media. Recently, several girls got in touch and caused a scene at Lin Qing's workplace. The money he scammed was exposed. His company fired him, and he got a bit of fame in his social circle. Xiaozhang gave me a lollipop, saying, "Sister-in-law, I've heard, Lin Qing couldn't make it here. He's moving to another city. He probably won't bother you again." The glass door opened, and Qin Weibai poked half his body in. "Nianjin, let's go." Xiaozhang winked at me, clearly implying that Qin Weibai had prepared a surprise for me. When I got in the car, I noticed a pile of documents in the passenger seat. I told you. I've added your name to the deed. I've also got my parents' property deed here. Let's go get it done tomorrow. Ever since I got pregnant, my in-laws have been calling every 3 days. They even tried to drag me to buy a Porsche, but I politely refused. We drove along the coastal road, leaving the city, finally stopping at a restaurant. The tables were set on the beach. The white sand was fine. The waves gently lapped at the shore. The sunset faded, half sinking into the sea. The warm light blended with the candlelight. The red roses were vivid and sparkling. The firelight licked the edges of the petals, as if gilded with a golden edge. The evening breeze swept through my hair, blowing it behind me. Chin Wei Bai reached out and pulled me closer. I've been owing you a proposal. Only now am I ready. It's said that couples who meet through arranged marriage are less likely to be romantic, but I believe you're the one I want to spend my life with. So you're worth it. My eyes filled with tears. I couldn't say a word. Couples getting married are all aiming for a lifelong commitment. I was ready for a simple life. But who knew? I ended up falling in love after marriage. The violin music faded along with the last bit of sunset, lingering softly in the evening breeze. Chin Wei Bai embraced me. Chen Nianjin, will you marry me? I've already married you. The wind blew my skirt. I stepped barefoot on his leather shoes, wrapped my arms around his neck, laughing so hard I nearly fell over. Don't move. Chin Wei Bai held me firmly. I should kiss the bride now. Our lips met, sinking into tenderness. I thought of a phrase. Love grows with time. A marriage based on compatibility turns into love. How lucky we are. The sea turned ink black. Only the sound of waves remained. The full moon, eternal and unchanging, hanging high in the sky, witnessing the vows we made.